Let's call the February meeting of the Batavia Township to order. So are we live, Audrey? She's not being, we're live.
Yeah, we're live.
That's good.
Oh,
Would,
we're on it. We're live.
would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Walt Donnet, absent. Troy Trusana,
Here.
John West,
Here.
Jennifer Zorn, here. Lee Tracy.
Here. And next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the January 9th meeting. So do I have a motion to
I'll make
accept?
a motion to approve the minutes as they are.
Good, is there a second?
I will second.
It is moved and seconded. Any questions, concerns, corrections? I guess the motion was to approve them as we have them. And there's a second. So let's have the clerk call the roll on the approval of the minutes.
West,
Yes.
Zorn,
Yes.
Trusana,
Yes.
Tracy.
Yes. And you have a supervisor's report in print. A couple things I suppose that are worth mentioning, and that is that we have some real issues, particularly in the general assistance fund, so that going forward, we're going to be forced to pay general assistance out of the general fund, since there probably is not sufficient, I know there isn't, sufficient balance to pay for the month of March. And the general fund balance is, is okay, road fund balance is okay. If you look at the budget reports, we have some critical issues in the general fund. So I've indicated here that we will not pay ride and cane bills in March. We will not pay legal expenses in March, and we will not pay the auditors during this fiscal year. We'll wait for the next fiscal year. Any other questions about anything that's on that? I had some notes here on, we will transition within the next couple months to checking accounts with the St. Charles Wind Trust Bank, leaving the U.S. Bank. The appointment of the mediator on our case with the Department of Human Rights was canceled in January. It's not been rescheduled. We're proceeding with the annual audit. We're back on track, having dug out some missing files from QuickBooks. I don't really have enough data on the phone service in comparison with Peerless, but I will prepare that and see. I know we're going to be saving money. I want to mention that the township office lease with Batavia Enterprises is up in May, and so we will have some alternatives to consider. I want to mention too here in this report that we need to be setting wages and salaries for township officials for 2005, after following the election, 2025, 2029. So we'll be doing that. Somewhere along the line, we have to have a discussion of the township elections in April of 2025. I just made a notion here that it's not a public meeting, but we need to get together. Typically what we do is to form a new political party and caucus to present a full slate.
Can we go back to setting wages and salaries for a minute?
Yep.
Are we doing that when? Right after April
No.
1st?
November.
Yeah, we'll do it.
We're doing that in,
We'll do it in November. It has to
Okay.
be done for the,
yeah, I remember, I just didn't know when it
Yeah,
was.
November before the election.
Okay.
well, the election is, yeah. All righty. Any questions regarding anything on that, my report here? Questions, comments? All righty. You also have budget reports before you, which, you know, everything is okay except, with the exception of general assistance. The general fund is not quite where it should be. Everybody else is on track in all the other budgets. Any questions about any of those budget reports? Let us move then to the approval of the bills to be paid in February. You have the bills before you, which I assume you have all reviewed. Could I have a motion to pay the general fund and assessors fund bills for a total of $96,774.12?
So move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved and second. Any questions regarding any of those? If not,
No.
If not, then let's have the clerk call the roll on the payment of the general and assessor fund bills.
Susanna,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Zorn,
Yes.
Tracy.
Yes. And then the road fund bills, you have road fund bills in the amount of $38,778.16. Is there a motion to approve those?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Zorn,
And I'll second that.
seconded by Tusana. Any questions of Chris?
No.
Nope. Good.
I don't.
Let's have the clerk call the roll on the approval of the road fund bills.
Zorn,
Yes.
Susanna,
Yes.
West,
Yes.
Tracy.
Yes. Do we have an assessor's report?
Oh, yeah, we finally received our notices from our final board review hearings and changes, so we're entering those. Once those are in, we can start our 2024 year. And Steve has been really on those home improvements, so he's been out in the field and measuring additions and decks and things. So he's actually almost done with all of that.
Wow.
So, yeah. So I'm having him, I had him start doing neighborhoods, like going out and taking pictures and making sure we have all the correct property data. So that's going really good. And after the new year, we always get a whole bunch of property divisions. So dividing up properties and valuing those. But that's about it. Entering sales and permits. Gearing up for the next reassessment year.
And he still has to go to the city to get the prints, right?
Yeah, to
Or-
look at them. Yeah. Which is, I mean, I guess that's pretty normal. It's not, they're cooperating as far as they pull them for us, and we just have to make an appointment to view them and stuff. But I wish we would get the actual permit.
Right.
Because now he's got to they have to pull the file and look at what, if they pull a permit for a kitchen remodel, like, well, what are they doing? It's on the permit,
Right.
but they're not giving us that. So
Right.
we have to go.
And look.
But yeah,
Ooh.
I know it's a little more work, but it's our job, so
Yeah.
What is the reason that they're not giving you permits?
I don't really have one.
I wonder what their reasoning is.
I know,
I
it
think-
seems weird
Yeah.
that
And
they
I-
don't give you the measurements and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I've talked to them about it. They just basically compile it and we just get a list.
Yeah,
So we used to get the permits
right,
Because that would save you a lot of time.
a lot of time.
yeah.
I like to work together, but
Yeah.
I've tried and we just do it the best way we can. we're getting our information, that's all that matters, I guess. So,
Yeah.
but that's it.
Okay,
Thank
any
you.
other questions? A road commissioner.
Well, I mean, as you've obviously noticed, the guys have been doing a good job of keeping the roads clear. We haven't had any issues that
Haven't
way.
used a lot of salt.
Used a lot of salt. There's still plenty of winter left ahead, so who knows what's in store for us. But we were able to sneak in this last week, as you noticed, on the expenses and did a lot of tree trimming.
Well, that's,
We normally don't get to do this time of the year
Yeah.
because of the snow in the ditches and all that stuff. So-
yeah, I noticed Bill's them all, so.
Oh, yeah. Well, he had time available and so
Right.
did we, so it was like, good time to do it. And,
Best time to do it, yeah.
yep. Other than that, we're, working on cleaning up the ditches, the gravel in the ditches and all that, the same old stuff every spring, but it's gotta get a little firmer,
Right.
so. But things are good. That's all I got, unless you got some
Think you're
questions.
gonna have a big surplus of salt this year again, or not?
No, because we can take whatever whatever we signed up for, we can take as little as 80% or as much as 120%.
No.
So I already have room for 100%. So,
Looking good then.
yeah. So we'll be able to take it, and we already got the liquid in to treat it with. So we probably won't take any until summer.
Okay.
I'd like to get back into the shed a little further, make sure what's back there is good.
Right.
Sometimes it can turn to a rock,
Oh, yeah.
so I guess I'd like to use a little more. But we're ready.
Good.
Any trustee reports?
Not for me.
Any
good.
public participation? Don't see any. I put some old business things on there. If does anybody have, I've already commented about the Illinois Department of Human Rights case that is continuing, although the mediation was canceled, probably will take place, I hope, at some point. We're continuing work on the audits with Sikich, now that we have discovered some old QuickBooks files and given them they can continue to work.
Is he doing 2 years at once?
no.
Or is he trying to get the first year?
First year first.
Okay,
Yeah, we're working on 21, 22.
okay.
And I mentioned that we will transition to the Wintrust St. Charles Bank coming up. I will give our phones and internet systems seem to be functioning. And I'm convinced that we will be saving money. I will document that as soon as I have data. And I mentioned the township office lease. We can face there's several possibilities of other Batavia Enterprises locations, which we're talking to them about. My feeling currently is that we will need to renew our lease, which expires here in May. I don't think we're prepared at this point to make a change in location before May. Next item on the agenda.
So have you been looking at other?
Yeah, we've been,
Other
yeah,
locations?
we've been talking to Batavia Enterprises about continuing here. We've been talking to them about moving next door. The therapy place has moved, and we've talked about available spaces where the Batavia Animal Clinic has moved out of.
Oh, on the corner
Portion
there?
of- Yeah, there's some space there. There's also there's some other Batavia Enterprises locations.
How's that space next door? Is it larger than this?
Yeah, it's about 1.5 times the square feet as this location. There's some things problematical about it, but,
And the rent's high.
well, you would get a square foot rent. It's more square foot, you pay more money.
Yeah.
So that's part of the question. There is, well, when we get around to the budget, I'll talk about what's in the budget for office space. All righty, any other questions about any of those items? So let's move to the tentative budgets. The procedure here is that we now have, I'll reinforce the idea, these are tentative at this point. We did have a published public notice in the Chronicle that they are here for public review. I've had no one wanting to see them. And we also have published that there will be a budget hearing next month. So it's on the agenda here on March the 12th. The budget hearing will be at 6:45 and our regular meeting will be at 7. The budgets will be adopted at that meeting following the public hearing. So, does anybody have any questions about the tentative township budget?
I have one.
Good.
The GA doesn't look like there's gonna be enough money in there.
Well, the
We've been-
problem.
Yeah, we've been averaging, and I know you can't tell from month to month if there's gonna be anybody taking it, if they're not gonna be taking it. But it seems like in the last year, we've been averaging about $2,500 a month for that.
I already, the two things, there's only a couple sources of revenue. You can't exceed the available revenue. There's a property tax, which we have levied for general assistance of $12,605. I've moved a good share of the personal property replacement tax to the general assistance budget and also to the assessor's budget.
Okay, so that is what's allowed to be used for general assistance?
We can use it for anything.
Just so I understand. Okay,
We can-
just so I understand. So if the proposed budget is 18,683, and that comes up to the property tax and personal property tax, replacement tax, so it's 18,683. And
Yeah.
our history this last year is gonna be 30,000. So where do we get the extra money for that? I'm just asking.
The general fund. And then if we exhaust the general fund, we go to the road fund.
Hello? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So
You'll notice-
we might be in a spot where it looks kind of
Okay.
like we're transferring money from one column to the next to help that out, so it's not in a deficit. And one of the reasons is because we can only put on there what we get from property tax.
The other thing
Is that right?
that's going to be done, which it shows on the budget, that we will not be doing emergency assistance. We're not doing currently emergency assistance, and we will not during the next fiscal year.
Yeah, I know, I'm just trying to understand, this is a legal thing, and we can't say, okay, we're gonna put 30 in the GA right now, so we don't have a problem next year.
Well, where are you going to get it?
Well, that's what I'm asking, I mean,
Yeah.
we're only allowed to get it from these two property tax?
Well, no, you could.
So your hands are tied.
You could not budget things in the assessor's fund and not budget expenses in the general fund and budget them in the general assistance. But do you want to remove it from those other two budgets as well? The other thing I'm looking at is to reduce the benefit.
So if
We're
all
looking
things
now. Yeah, we're looking. Yeah.
stay the same as this last year's average, we're gonna have a GA of about 30, but we've only got 18,700 in the account, and we're gonna be getting money from somewhere else.
Yep. Unless we can get rid of some general assistance cases and we reduce the benefit. This is what I'm looking at.
Right, I'm just trying to understand it a little better. that's
Right. I think there's some other things that are worth mentioning, and that is that this budget reduces social service agencies from 115,000 to 40,000. That's where the big chunk is gonna come. We're not gonna be giving money to social service agencies at the same level. Alrighty. Any other questions about the general fund, general assistance fund, assessor's fund? mental health. Yeah,
Will Batavia Enterprises go on a month-to-month if we, after this lease expires?
no,
They won't?
we can do as I did in the last one, go to an annual lease rather than a 5-year lease, but they're not gonna consider anything shorter than an annual lease. And it's gonna cost more money. We have a proposal to renew the lease for 1 year, which is more per month than a 5-year lease.
I brought it.
Yeah, it's here, we have it.
It's like 2656.06 a month.
Wow.
Okay, anything else? Anything else?
Can I see that?
I have copies.
Oh, yeah. If you have copies, I have them. Thank you.
I didn't know if it was gonna be talked about, so. Want one? You have it,
No, it
right?
doesn't really.
Yes, I have it. All righty, anything else? Any more questions, other questions about the town fund, which includes the administration, the supervisor's operation, and the assessor's operation? You'll notice that I did include in the assessor's fund a portion of personal property replacement tax. In other words, the levy for the assessor's fund is $273,991. I added to that revenue $30,000 from personal property replacement tax. But we're getting a little bit less personal property replacement tax projected for the next fiscal year than we had this year. Yeah, it's less. These come from their projections. It's the Department of Revenue's projection. All righty.
It seems odd and
Well, it's just that they're gonna collect less money. The personal property replacement tax essentially comes from corporate tax. Anything else about the town budget? The general fund, assessor's fund, general assistance, and mental health. How about, let's take a look at the road budget. Any questions about the road district budget?
There.
Their next one goes.
This. I
It's
don't.
just this one.
I think if I'm right in my, comparing it with last year, the total appropriations is about 2.5% less than last year.
I'm sorry, Lee, what'd you say?
I was gonna ask that, so thank you. I ask that every year.
Could you
The,
repeat that, Lee? What did you just say?
the comparison from the last fiscal year to this fiscal year proposed for the road district is about 2.5% less.
15 grand.
The,
Where's it going to the other accounts?
let's see.
Yeah.
The budget for the general town fund is for the supervisor is actually, no, it's about, there's not a huge difference between, it's some increase over last year. All righty. anything else? So, we will have a budget hearing at 6:45 in March, and then adopt the budget at the meeting, or the regular meeting to follow.
So it's next month, the budget hearing?
Next month is the budget hearing at 6:45, and the regular monthly meeting at 7. I will draw your attention to April, following month, is the annual town meeting, which is always,
So when we have the hearing, we can ask another question or two about the budget?
absolutely.
Because that's the hearing. where you
That's
vote on
right.
it.
That's really when we're considering it. And then following the public hearing is the adoption.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
I'll second it.
Seconded? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed to adjournment? Apparently not. So we are now adjourned.